In Bosnia and Herzegovina, the international community have spent enormous amount of resources, financial and human, on building a strong state and building strong institutions. They have forgotten the people that live in the state. If you want to build a strong, stable state, you need dialogue and reconciliation among the citizens. And I am sure, I'm convinced, that if the international community had focused more on the dialogue and reconciliation, they would also have been much more efficient with the state building and institution building. It's shameful that dialogue and reconciliation has been neglected in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Dialogue and reconciliation work is very long-term. This is not a project, this is a process. If you look at my country, Norway, it's almost 70 years since the World War II. We are still affected by it. But modern research says if you have a reconciliation policy, if you work on reconciliation, after 15 years, it is possible to accomplish something. And we start to see results. We are, in principle, changing the educational policy in Macedonia. We start to see results of our work in Vukovar, where the breakdown of Yugoslavia started. In Kosovo, we see small changes in terms of cooperation between Serbs and Albanians. I believe that if you patiently work and you work toward this goal, you will see the results, but it doesn't come fast.
What will be your response?
I think it's a great honor to be nominated. And in the Nansen network, we have 50 coordinators that have been working now full-time for 10 years. That's 500 years of peace work. I believe that what Nobel was talking about in his testament was to honor peace workers like those we see in the Nansen network. And I would be honest and say that I really hope that one day we will get it, because compared with others that have gotten the Peace Prize the last decade, I think we deserve it as much as they do. I think it's dangerous to compare Bosnia and Herzegovina to Norway. And it's dangerous to romanticize or idolize Norway. We saw last summer that we had a massacre as brutal, as violent as many of the things we've seen here. The whole conflict between segregation and integration is a European problem. And we are struggling with it in Norway, we're struggling with it in Bosnia and Herzegovina, in Belgium. We see riots in France, Paris, in London, in Copenhagen. And I think in this regard, we can help each other. And I also think that people in Norway can be inspired by what I have seen in Pridor, in Sanski Most, in Zvornik, in Jajce, in Bratunac, in Srebrenica, and through cooperation, we can make this Europe real. I have spent most of the last 15 years doing dialogue work, not only with people in ex-Yugoslavia, also with different clans in Somalia and in the Middle East. We tend to believe that everybody knows what happened, but everybody don't want to admit it. Some are lying. My experience is that people believe in different truths, and that is why it is so important to come together and share each other's stories, because we don't know everything about what happened. The propaganda is so strong, and if you listen only to your own politicians, to your own journalists, to your own grandparents, you do not get the whole picture. I have seen over and over again people become surprised by hearing stories they really didn't know. And if we don't give a stronger emphasis on dialogue and reconciliation, all the efforts on building a Bosnia and Herzegovinian state, strong institutions, will fail.